Alright guys, you hear me in YouTube land? Having technical difficulties, like I said. Alright guys, you hear me in YouTube land? Assuming you do, because I just heard myself. Alright. So of course I gotta start all discombobulated, scrambling to figure out what's going on here. Alright, so there's a bunch of markets look like they're on the brink of falling apart, and the usual bungee jump right here. I just want to see where we're at here in NASDAQ. So NASDAQ, you know, these markets are bullish, short term, intermediate term, obviously. You know, bigger picture. So this is, we look at this stuff from the top down to the, you know, structure down to the real-time volume that's happening right now. But anyway, over, you know, bigger picture, this is broken out of that balance, and this form balance the last few days, breaking out right now. So that is definitely bullish. It doesn't mean I can't take shorts, but I would not take shorts larger size. Longs you can take larger size if they present themselves. So that's what I see here. And now we drill down to the shorter term stuff. I'm echoing. I don't know why I'm echoing. Of course I'm echoing. It shouldn't be echoing anymore though. I turned off the Bookmap.
Soy oil ice iceberg by ZL.
I mean,
152 contracts.
I turned off the YouTube, so if it's still echoing, let me know, but I have no idea why it would be echoing. No idea why a lot of things are happening. Sound is good, okay. All right, so this is the most recent setup here in NASDAQ. I'll go over what I just did in ES.
NQ stop by NQ, 179 contracts.
I got more stops. So, you know, this is not surprising. I just showed you that larger term balance area. This is what happens when longer term traders start to feel the pain. This is called a puke. Right, and you're seeing the puke with the stop runs. That's the, you know, beauty of Bookmap. You can actually see. So a lot of the educators out there, I'm using air quotes for the educators, you know, they just guess things are stop runs, areas are stop runs. You know, a lot of them are apparent, like highs a day, stuff like that, but they don't know for sure. You don't know for sure unless you're using this SI indicator, stop iceberg indicator, and with the MBO data from the CME and Bookmap. Right, so I know for certainty these are stop runs. So this is a puke of that balance area. You saw puke, 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 and this thing's off the charts. So
NQ ice iceberg by NQ, 182 contracts.
I got bias here. This is trading like some kind of news just came out, so I don't know what just hit, but I know we have. No, there's no number. So again, this is breaking out. So it's, I'm just trying to see if we're in my inflection zones. So these are zones that I draw, that I use. And you can see we are into one right here. So there's a volume event. I would take a short here if it presents itself, because this was a zone from the further this goes back, the longer the things that have happened there. And you can see there was stuff here. I think it was the bottom of this balance here, and then it was the top of this balance here, and it led to a breakdown and a breakdown, and we're here again. So I will probably be careful taking a short here. I will still take shorts. I'm a day trader, but I will not. So Izzy trades are usually moves into inflection zones, are usually aggressive trades. So the minute I get the volume event and it breaks down out of that volume event, I'll take the short aggressively. In this case, I would wait for an ATR retest failure, and I'll go over this. But the reason is because this is breaking out of balance. These are not the best places to go short when you're breaking out of this balance. And the rule of thumb is when markets break out of balance, they usually will move at least 100% of the size of the balance area, right? So this one was probably 15.4 down to 15, let's just say 250-ish, maybe a little less. So you're looking at 150 points for the breakout is the rule of thumb, right? So I'm expecting this to go to at least 15,550. Rule of thumb. That doesn't mean it's going there straight, but that's, again, it's just makes sense. The traders in here that are short, they have to puke, and that just loaded up energy. But anyway, you know, this is a gut call here. This is not right on top of the breaking out here. It's not like I'm shorting right here, but I'll probably still wait for an ATR retest failure of the volume event. We'll go over that. So you can see there was buy. I didn't do anything with any of these setups, so none of these setups presented themselves as aggressive entries, and they were pretty quick anyway. I wouldn't have got to them trying to get all this crap set up with the YouTube stuff, but you can see it was stop run. So these are one of the 7 setups, distinct setups that I traded with. Speaking of which, let me put this in the room. So this is the document with everything that I do, everything I use, my SI indicator course, spreadsheet zones. I now have that as a subscription base where you can get these zones that I'm showing you, and you can get the actual spreadsheet that I use. You get that free in my trade room, but if you can't make my trade room, that's that. Website, email, you get questions, and then these are all the things that I use that you can get discounts to. You just click on these links and you get discounts to everything here. Apex Trader Funding, use that code for any of the sales they got going. Spot Gamma. There's going to be another, I think there's another discount coming here in Spot Gamma here shortly. And then Ludwig levels, we'll get into that. And then here's some reviews from my room too. Down here I've added. So I will put this in the YouTube channel. And I'll put it in Discord, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do here with Mr. NASDAQ. That's just still in there. No, that's not in there. All right. So I want to see. So speaking of Ludwig levels, the ES just tried to rip through its lug and bounced off of it. We talk about in that tutorial I did with Pamela Ludwig. I'll just put this in now because I always talk about it. I'm looking at it in Discord, so I will post this here again.
Soy oil iceberg IZL 155 contracts.
So you can watch this. This is just a basic. I got on with her a couple years ago. She's in my room now as well. She kind of monitors the room, but we talk about some situations, just very basic stuff. Was when I first started using these things. And she's the developer of them, so she would tell me how she would use them. Anyway, when a market tries to pierce through a major lug, meaning big blue or big red, and it can't form new lugs, and it gets back above, that's usually a sign of a rip. So again, I use different things to judge, to come up with a thesis on the day. And if this volume events, the real-time volume events that are happening right now, match my thesis, then I can trade bigger and I have a lot more confidence in the trade, and so on and so forth. So you can see this tried to bust through these lugs, couldn't do it right now. That's bullish, short term, potentially, thesis. And then what you got here, this is a very important level on the market profile list. So this is a couple day composite. You can see the market broke out to start, came back in. When markets get back inside these market profile composites, the tendency is to get to the other side. Well, for this to bounce off of basically the point of control, and it bounced off this prior 1, 2, and then now it's here. So many times they'll come back, test the edge, and then go, and then cover the whole thing. But if this gets back out of here, this is telling you something's up, right? Because this should do that. If it does that, then you expect bigger moves. So now if this moves a little higher, I got that information from my thesis, I got that information from my thesis, and then I already know that we're basically, well, this is not breaking out yet. So this looks a little different than NASDAQ. So this did not break out of this balance area. So this is right smack dab at the high volume. So I don't really have any information from this for a thesis, but I do know. So I put this in yesterday. So this was this is after the close. 26,000 buy ice came into this market, like after the close, between 3 and 4 p.m. Central. So they're not feeling too good right now. And again, you just got to always assume that they're initiating positions. I don't care what they were doing. This was not the best place to buy, right? They could have bought down here, right? So the point is, just assume. You're never going to know. I tell you guys every week, you're never going to know what these bigger money's doing unless you're sitting right next to them. So just assume they're initiating positions, and it's not looking too good right now. So I would definitely watch. If this does start to move higher, watch this area for a failure. If it can get through here, then this thing's probably going to just fly off the page. But this is interesting here. So this is kind of, we were talking about thesis. So we had market profile bullish check. We had lugs bullish check. This does not look bullish to me. It doesn't look bearish per se as far as the balance area, so I'm neutral there, but it does look bearish as far as this buy ice. 26,000 buy ice couldn't hold this market overnight. So I've got, when we talk about every day, when you're coming up with a thesis or you're deciding, a lot of traders like to eliminate one side of the market and just trade one way for the day. I don't really agree with that. You can, you're going to have a lot less trades. I'm a day trader. I'm looking for both ways. But what you do is you have a scale type of thing where, you put your bullish things on one side of the scale. So we already talked about the two. Say there's another one, and then on this side, say it would be this bearish incidence here. So it's like, okay, now you weigh. Well, the 3 checks outweigh the 1. I'm still going to lean bullish. That type of thing, right? That's how you can come up with if you're going to trade a certain direction or trade bigger in a certain direction, so on and so forth. So anyway, let's get this drawn. I probably don't want to spend a lot of time before I get these zones in my spreadsheet in NASDAQ because it tends to move pretty quick. Let's see here. So this was the most recent setup was 283 buy ice. This is the automatic zone drawing tool that is being developed in my room. One of the developers in my room. It's awesome. You can see, like, if you've watched my webinars for the last 7 years, it's a huge pain watching me use this 1984 drawing tool where you come in, you got to hit edit, horizontal line, put the horizontal line, come back, get out of edit mode. So this draws them automatically. They're not perfect yet, but just putting them on the chart is 80% of the battle, right? So you got, especially with these icebergs, you got to adjust them a little bit. So right now, this will be a subscription-based tool. But right now, we're beta testing it in my trade room. So if you remember my trade room, you get this tool for free for the time being. And then also, while we're on that, you get the spreadsheet for free as a member of my trade room. But if you can't get into my trade room, like I was talking about, you can get this stuff and my inflection zones. So these important zones that we trade off of that have worked incredibly well too, where these markets respond. These zones here, you can get those as well as subscription based, and that's all on this website here, scalpeltrader.org. So you can get the zone. This is the spreadsheet that I use. I actually need to rename that. I should put spreadsheet so it doesn't confuse people. Or the inflection zones, or both combined. So that's available. You get this for free, part of my room, if you're in my trade room, in the Discord trade room. And you can get to there on my regular website. It's in that document, but it's right here, right? So, and then right there, click on the live trade room. Other than that, you can get a subscription to it. All right, so back to this. Let's see what's going on here. So this is where looks like this triggered, and you can see the spike here to 276. So with this drawing tool, it's awesome. You can just scroll. I think this was the bottom. This may be a one-tick zone too. We'll see. So we're learning more and more how to draw these zones properly. I've only been drawing them wrong for about 7 years. So we've adapted. After Bruce banging into my head enough times, I finally started to realize, like, especially with the reset mode, this will go on for however long I have this reset mode, and then it'll stop at the minute mark of my clock. Well, that is not indicative of what's really happening. It just cuts off there. But so you got to know where you draw it and then where it actually stops coming in. So this was actually a one-tick zone. You can see it. It started a spike right here, and then more sell. You see the selling here. This was buy ice, and it triggered more buy ice, and then a flat line. So nothing else is coming in, and you can just follow it on. You can see it on the bottom there. If nothing else is coming in, you know that was one price. I don't have to include all these prices down. That's what I used to do. I used to include all the prices. And this still was an edge. It still is a profitable edge, but for what we use in the spreadsheet and everything else, it's not. You want to be as accurate as possible, obviously. So these prices were not part of this buy ice. It was up here. So like I said, this looks like this is very rare in NQ to have a one-tick zone, but it looks like that was 15.4, 52.75 was that zone. I'll just bring this down. This won't go to the exact tick. It's a one-tick wide, but that looks like that to me, unless more came in here, and it did not. So actually some sell ice started coming in a little bit here, but so that's the zone I'm going to put in 15.4, 52.75. So I go to my spreadsheet and I plug that zone in. tick zone. Very rare in NASDAQ. 22.78 is your ATR. We plug in the current ATR. It's very, very important. 5-minute well, there's ATR. You can get it on Thinkorswim. You can get it on Sierra chart as well. I've shown that in the past. If I get a second, I'll show it. But you can see it's down here too. So 22.79. So that is in. Now we judge based on how this reacts to this zone, whether it's bullish or bearish. And this already looks like a bearish event. So that's all in the spreadsheet, right? So just from watching a million of these things, these are the rules that I've come up with to trade these volume events, right? So if the market gets away an ATR, it'll determine which way I'm going to potentially trade what the setup is, whether it's bearish or bullish. So the validation price for that setup to be bearish was 15,430, and I think that easily got so this particular setup is bearish. And actually, this is an example where I was saying I could take an Izzy here, and you see how it's starting to fail on this zone, Izzy short. So I said I was going to wait for a retest. I could have taken that aggressively, and I should already be in the trade. But I'm going to wait. I said I'll wait for a retest. I'll wait for the retest because, again, we're breaking out of balance and breaking out of yesterday's balance. So if we go ATR retest failure, I will short this. You could have shorted it aggressively. So, it may not make it back to the zone, and that's the reason I should take these aggressively. There's certain trades and my trading strategies, which we'll go over, that I wait for an ATR retest failure. And there's certain trades that I don't wait for the retest because the areas are so important that it may just do that, right? So this may just not even come back here and keep going down, and then I miss the trade. But that was my decision. You got to make certain, most of my stuff's black and white, but sometimes, it's subjective and you got to make a decision. I'm going to wait for a retest failure in this particular zone. Plus, I got to keep listening to these FANG stocks getting bought anyway. So hopefully we'll get back up there, retest, and if it fails out of there, then I'm going to short it. But I may miss this particular Izzy short. But you can see here how these markets are struggling this market's struggling at prior events, right? So it's just common sense. Traders get run over. Sellers that were in the order book over here got run over. Sellers got run over. Anyone that holds their breath as it comes back to these areas, they're like, just imagine you're short here a boatload, and you're like, oh my God, and you're about to puke them, right? And you're like, please come back, and it comes back, and then you get out of the trade. So guys, everything I talk about in my course, or everything I trade and I go over in my course, it's from personal experience of trading millions and millions of contracts, right? It's back in the day and up until now. So I don't trade millions of contracts now. I used to average 50,000 contracts a day. So all the setups are based on, around turns I should say, are based on my personal experience and how I used to react when I had huge positions on, and how other traders used to react, like I showed you guys last week when I was showing you my trading videos of back in the day when I was a huge scalper, how you can see the counterparty. So you can see what other traders were doing, and it was showing you exactly who it was. So it was like a big poker game, but I would see how they would react. So all my setups, there's 6 distinct setups and a 7th one coming that are based on my prior volume experience, right? So anyway, the way I used to be, so say I sold here, and then I would do the same thing. I'd be holding my breath. It wasn't in NASDAQ most of the time, but and then when it would come back, I would be like, thank you, God, get me out of this trade, right? So that's what happens. So, if you are, we have a reversion trade too that we talk about in my trade room. That we do in my trade room. We'll go over that as well. But some of these areas are really...
Stocks by ES, 885 contracts.
I got stops and ES. Are really good areas, and here's your retest.
NQ stocks by NQ, 188 contracts.
So I'm pretty sure this is 1 or 2 ATR, and it bounced right off of there. We'll go over that. I haven't covered that yet. We got another setup now too, though. So that one I'll short aggressively if that fails. But anyway, we'll go over. I made a mistake here in ES earlier. I got out of one of them, and I still have half on of another one. We'll go over that. We got 3 minutes to the natural gas number. This is a shame because I was waiting for a retest of this. This is probably the biggest buy ice I've ever seen in this market. You can see if somebody knows something. It's just a wild guess that someone's putting on 1,600 buy ice, and this one was 600. So 2,200 plus buy ice. A little bit before a huge number coming out. So it's like I talk about all the time. These markets are completely manipulated. They always have been. They always will be. It's either you complain and you don't trade them, or you just sit there and stew on it, or you understand what's going on. And this is telling you what they're doing. So if you can't beat them, join them. So I'm not saying this is for sure going to go up. We have a setup called broken ice when the big money's wrong. But the odds of this holding are very, very good. And especially before a number, someone doesn't come in and put 2,000 contracts on them if they don't know something. Put it that way. So we'll see what happens here in the next minute. I'm not going to trade that. I was waiting for a retest. It just retested right there, and there were some sell stops here that just drove it into there. But I'm not going to. I wanted to put this trade on, and you can see all this liquidity is pulling because the number's coming out. So I can't put on this trade into the number. I've been burned 3 times in the last 2 days trading into numbers. Ask my trade room. It's been brutal. But anyway, let's see what happens here.
Nat gas ice iceberg by NG, 151 contracts.
Yeah, and here comes some more buy ice. 40 seconds before the number. It's like, okay, so let's see. If I had to guess, this thing's going to rip off the page. But if it doesn't, that's information too, and we could potentially trade this. There's going to be a new setup, but either way, you can use this as a thesis, knowing, like we looked at ES, this is a lot of buy ice. If they're wrong, you can bet there's going to be a huge move lower at some point today. Other than that, I would favor the upside. So we'll see what happens here, just since we're on here. Quickly, I think there was we just got an Izzy in ES, and I'm missing this trade here because I was, what do you know? Let's see. Well, what do you know? I can't believe it's moving higher. It's almost like Mortimer and Randolph got the crop report from Beeks. Quoting Trading Places, by the way. I won't even insult your intelligence not knowing what that is. But wow, what a lucky guess by these guys buying 2,000 before the number there. Huh? Who knew? You guys see why this is so? This is the information. This is so important. I don't care what damn lines you have on your chart. It doesn't matter unless you know what's going on with this. This is the real-time buying. How was that guess? Did they do pretty good?
By NG, 151 contracts.
They're still buying it. So there you go. That's why you guys need to know this information. If you're not using this, great, and you're a profitable trader, awesome. You can be 10 times more profitable if you understand what's going on with real-time buying. And right there you saw major manipulation there. It's not really manipulation, but you can't tell me that person or entity didn't know what the number was. Sorry. Don't believe it if you told me otherwise. All right, so I may be missing a trade here. This wasn't an Izzy zone. The stop run for ES.
Gas ice iceberg sell NG, 152 contracts.
Oh, I wonder if that's the buy ice that just.
Gas ice iceberg sell NG, 151 contracts.
So guys, this is just perfect. It's like I'm scripting this, right? So I don't know who this sell ice is coming in. You can't even really see it on the chart right now because this was so big. This is all relative. But I'd be willing to bet some of the sell ice coming in are some of the guys that bought, or whoever bought here is starting to peel out of their trade 100 ticks higher. So nice trade, guys. Lucky guess. All right. This zone 4409 quarter to 4407.50.
Soy oil ice iceberg sells EL, 151 contracts.
So I know you guys want so many like staring at the crappy ES all day, but it's just good to see other markets, and it also shows you're doing yourself a disservice if you're staring at the crappy ES all day. You can be taking advantage of the information like that, right? Nothing to say you couldn't have bought right there and said, well, somebody's just bought 3,000, I'm going to buy some too, right? If you want to buy into numbers and stuff, you have your own rules. The point is you are informed by using the SI indicator. If you do not have it, you do not have all the information.
Silver
period.
Stock sell SI, 136 contracts.
All right, this is an Izzy zone. I should be going short at, this is the current ATR. That's the zone, 0175, and I can put on 8 contracts. So let's see what's going on. I may have missed this trade already. Right there. Hold on. ES. So I missed it. I'm not going to chase it. I put it back at 10175, so it pops back up to 0175. I mean, I could chase it a point, but something inherently will not allow me to do that. Come on, you can trade there. It's okay. This is what I go through. It's my decision to wait, but all right, come on. It's like the best price ever, I guess. All right, I bit the bullet. I went down 2 ticks.
GC, 189 contracts.
There's just something inherent in me. I won't chase markets, right? So I should have been in at 175. I just got in at 125 because I don't want to miss this move down. But the point is, this was an aggressive entry. Why? Because this was an inflection zone. And you can see what just happened here. So these are the zones that I'm talking about that you have access to now. My trade room or subscription. Volume event in this important zone where this tail, directional conviction, held here again. And then it turns out now it's the top of this balance area. So that's why I do not wait for the retest of that volume event. I just got it automatically. It's not the best area. I mean, this thing has been rotating back and forth here as far as being aggressive, right? Again, it's just the top of this balance, but I took it aggressively. So meaning when I say aggressively, I take it the first move out, the first ATR plus 15% out of the zone is where I get in. Some of my trading strategies, which we'll go over some of these, I will wait for the ATR retest failure to get in. This one, I don't wait in case I miss it. So that is on. Let's see what's going on here. And I could, if this does retest, and it won't surprise me, we actually have a distinct trade that plays for the retest of these zones. So if you understand these markets and how they rotate and what's going on here with these algos and snapping them back to the volume events, like I'm short here, of course I want it to do that. Am I surprised if it comes back to that? No, we have a trade for that. So it's not going to surprise me, and I don't sit there and crap my pants as it does this for the next hour potentially, right? Because it's just algos snapping you back and forth. What I care about is if it can, where I say I'm wrong, is if this does come back here and it can push through the volume event, could push multiple, an ATR plus back to the zone, through the zone, and then get out of the zone, an ATR, then I say I'm wrong, on to the next trade. And that's how I trade them. Because otherwise, you guys with your static stops you're doing yourself once again a disservice. You guys I like putting on my ES trades and I like risking 2 points. Well, if you just got short where I got short, you just got stopped out. And then if this thing sells out 20 points, now you're stewing the rest of the day. Stop putting your stops in random areas. The market does not care. You only want to risk 2 points when you put on trades. The market cares about volume and volatility. That's why I force this to do that for me to be wrong. If you want to keep doing that, you're going to keep letting the algos take your money. I like to compare it to, do you have your wallet on your desk and then open your window and let people come and grab your wallet? So if you don't like doing that, then why do you like putting your stops in random areas and let the algos take your money? Because that's all they're doing. What do you think is going on here? This is called a zero-sum game, right? So these firms, these algos are trying to take your money. That's the whole point, right? So stop letting them take your money in random areas. Doesn't mean you're going to be right on every trade using anything, including the SI indicator and the rules and everything else. But you're at least going to keep yourself out of whipsaw city. And that's what's happening right here. So anyway, I'm short there. So there's a bunch of stuff firing on my neck. As you can see all my zones being drawn here. I'll let this settle down and I'll be back. But that was again, a really lucky guess by that big money there. Right, so let's see here. So there was, I wanted to short this. Remember, I was waiting for the retest of this zone, so I should already be short this market. Hold on a second. We'll go over what I'm doing here. In NASDAQ, adjust the ATR, 23.69. So I need to be short at 25.50. I can put on 5. So I may have missed this trade. Also, it's right there. So if it trades, I could chase this. Let's see. This is Izzy as well. All right, so I paid down a quarter. So what I did there is, remember I was waiting for a retest of this area, and it retested it basically perfectly. Right. So we had that,
220 contracts.
And then I should have been short at 25.50. Well, a new event came in, and what I actually should have done is just brought this down a little more. But I probably would have been filled anyway. So anyway, a new event came in, but I was still willing because this event happened pretty much where this event happened, so I still took that trade aggressively. So now what I can do is I could actually now trade new setups off of this new event potentially. Worst case scenarios, I can now trail my stop. So remember, my stop was going to be an ATR above this zone. That's how I do it. Now, with the new volume event, I can bring that down. That short I just put on, I can bring it down to an ATR above that volume event, and then I can trade this event as well, and potentially this. So you can see on a trending day, this isn't really trending, but if you keep getting events in your direction, you can keep putting on new trades, trailing your stop to the event, and then trade a brand new trade based off that new event. Right? So let's see what's going on here. It's just like Stop City here today in NASDAQ. Again, I get it all the time. You guys get on here and say I'm talking too fast, so on and so forth. You got to remember, I'm trading live. I can't talk, and I can't talk in very basic terms, right? That's what my room's for and my course is for. Get that stuff, learn it, and then when you start hearing me trade and on these live webinars, you can follow along. But other than that, yeah, I understand it's coming at you quick, especially if you're new. But I'm trading live. So anyway, this is 15,439 to 30 quarter is that stop run zone. So it's showing down here. Actually, it might have started down here. Sorry. You can see it spiking here. It was only 52, but that's what triggered it. So I'll bring it down to here. That's 25.75. So I take my little handy dandy drawing tool. How cool is this thing, by the way? The absolute godsend. Yet Yoan is the second coming trading god in my room. All right, 15,439 is the top of the zone. So my stop right now, based on what I just shorted, should have been at 15,480. Now watch what happens when I put this new zone in. I'm going to be able to save some potential risk. 15,439. And I forgot the bottom already. 25.75. Keep your ATR up to date to 3.12. So now my stop is at 65.50. Not a huge difference, but now I can trail it down 15 points to where I was. From where I was, I should say. Right, so it was up here at 80 based on this zone. So way up here, now with this new event, I can bring it down to 65. And that's an ATR plus 15% above that zone. So I will put that in. All right, so I'm short both ES and NQ. Again, these markets do not look bearish, but I'm getting, if a market is truly bullish, you should not be getting bearish volume events. And we had a bearish volume event in both. So, but I was aggressive in both because of these Izzy zones. So I took that one, and then I took the one in ES. But this is not by any means a bearish situation. I understand what I just did is probably lower odds because of the breakout of this. But many times when markets break out, especially equities, they'll do the juke breakout, come back to the top of the balance, then they'll go. Or they'll come back to the high volume node of the balance, then they'll go. If it breaks the high volume node, then you really want to load up on shorts, but that's not occurring yet. But I still took the short because this is an important zone of mine. What are you guys texting me? I got the wrong NQ bottom price. 25. Okay. What, I miss it by a tick? 2 ticks. My I don't agree here. Let's see. Maybe I do. It was not 25. If it was 25, the stops would have triggered right here, right? So if that was the price of the stop run, yeah, someone could have just thrown in stops at a whim, but I doubt it. It would already triggered there. So 25 quarter maybe, but it's not 25. I'll bring it down to 25 quarter. Yeah, I already traded there too. Wrong handle. Okay, so this you mean? Sorry. Yeah. Thank you for pointing that out, guys. All right, there you go. Either way, my stop's still at the same 65.50. So this is the beauty of the trade room, right? Like, I'm trying to get them to be better at this stuff. So if everyone's pointing out stuff like that, or setups and the different market, no one misses trades. Like I missed on my webinar yesterday, I missed like 3 trades, and there was 30, I think 28, 30 guys on the webinar, guys and girls on the webinar, and not one person's pointing it out. It's like, that's what I want from the room. Everyone's collaborating. It's like a team. It's like our own little trading firm. Everyone makes money and no one misses trades. So that's the goal of the room. They're getting better, but they got enough yesterday. It's my own responsibility, but it's hard for me on these webinars, obviously, to monitor all these markets and every setup, right? So I need help. All right, so I'm short ES, I'm short NASDAQ. The other thing that I look for, I can take further shorts off of this setup, depending on what algo guy looks like. So this is an exponential moving average ribbon. Very powerful. We use this to help. I use this to help judge my bark trades. So the bark trade, that's all this stuff here. It's blind ATR retest failure. So that is this one here. So it used to be blind, but I've added. I said for the month, but I've gone past that. So I use algo guy as a filter. So I used to take just to show my room that these volume events inherently are the edge by themselves, blindly, no matter where you're at. If you just waited for ATR retest failure and took that trade, no matter which way it did it, right? That alone, you can still do that and make money just by that. That's the edge. But I started noticing, looking at my trades, that they work. The ones that were losing a lot were when I was fading algo guys. So this is the shorter term exponential moving average. This is the longer term. So when the blue is below the red, that is bearish. When the blue is above the red, that's bullish. So I will only take barks and lick trades. We'll talk about the lick trades too. Is if the blue is below the red, right? So my point is, if this comes back to that volume event, ATR retest failure, I will take a bark.
Gold Iceberg sell GC 154 contracts
And a lick trade. So I am short here. We're back at the blue lug, but I shorted basically into the blue lug here. So that's a problem in itself. What was the price I shorted that? Yeah. So I forgot about this, to tell you the truth. So I tell my room all the time, I still would have taken the trade for webinar purposes, but I tell my room all the time, you can come up with rules, because anyone that's been using these lugwood levels know how powerful they are. You can say, that's great that there was an event there, but I'm not taking a short into the lug. I'm going to wait for new lugs to form, and that's perfectly fine, as long as you do it every time, right? Don't one time do it, another time you don't. So this would not surprise me to see this bounce off here again. I would really like it to break down and form new lugs, but I don't think the market really cares what I want. So.
Iceberg sell ES 720 contracts.
All right, so this is the best scenario now, right? I can trail my stop off of this new event coming in, like I just did with NASDAQ. So you can see here, this was not threshold, but this is 500. Then more came in right here. So I'm going to incorporate both these areas here. You can see it. This is one house here. See on the chart, on the black line, I have mine colored black. You can change the colors whatever you want. I don't know why the drawing tool didn't work there though.
Iceberg sells EV 749 contracts.
Markets are very choppy right now. All right, so that came in there, came back, spiked a little more. This was not threshold, but that's where it started. Then it came back, triggered some more here. You can see it on the chart there. And I go over the zone drawing every day in my room, and it's in my trading course as well. And then you can see this. I can move the zone higher because this kept coming in. See how this keeps coming in, all the way up to there. Oh, it did draw it. Sorry. There it is. See? I gave up on it and it drew it. So let me get rid of this. So I will take the top of this and bring it down to there. And the bottom. Why is this not? Oh, because I have this on crappy edit mode, that's why. And the bottom is there. Alright, so this is the new zone. So I can trail my stop to this, and then I can trade off of this as well, potentially. But to the downside, so I can add, or I can put further trade shorts on. This turns bullish, then we'll talk about that too. 44.0175 down to 4,400.
Stock sell GC 249 contracts.
They're pounding gold. We'll go over there in a second. I need to catch my breath before I start looking at gold. The clown show of all clown shows. 5. So you can see this ATR is starting to spike, right? It's not really doing anything, it's just whipping back and forth, but it's definitely spiking. All right, so now I was already short, so now I can trail my stop to this event. So my stop before was at, I forgot what it was even at, I didn't even put it in. What did I do wrong here? Oh, I didn't. Okay, so I'm already, say I shorted this new event, my stop would go at 44,008. The issue here is I don't stop out in the middle of prior volume events. So this is the most recent here. So I'm going to move it, 08 would be right smack dab in the middle, I'm going to move it right there. Or you can even move it, actually what I'll do here, let's see. So this was the sell ice zone from earlier. So this is another subjective part of it, right? Like you have to decide. I highly recommend you don't stop out in the middle of prior volume events. But there is a prior volume event here, so do I risk it right there? Or do I say, okay, I want to risk another 2 points and get it out of this volume event too? I'm going to move it out of that volume event as well. So I'm going to move it to like 1175. So I'm costing myself 3 extra points. But the point is, I should have, my original stop was up here anyway, right? Off of this event. So that was up here anyway, so I'm going to move it down a little bit. Technically, it should be at 8, but I'm not stopping out there. So hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to stop out at 1175. That's working. Now I just judge to see what happens with this new event. But there's a lot of stuff happening just right in the middle of all this, like and it's really not going anywhere. And it's not surprising. Look where we're at. We're right in the middle of this balance area. The high volume node of the balance area, this is where high volume nodes are where the most trade occurred in a balance area. And we are sitting right there. So it doesn't surprise me there's events right in the middle here. So could be asking to be chopped to pieces, but the trade is on. And like I said, if this moves lower, you can see this liquidity down here too. If this moves lower, then I can put a trade off of, I could put on potential barks and licks off of this event too. So we'll see. Again, this thing's struggling at the blue lug, so it's not going to see me. It's not going to surprise me to snap off here again. If this can just move a little lower here and draw new lugs, then we should get the move. But once again, this is still stuck in here, and the tendency when markets get into market profile composites to get to the other side. So I'm still expecting that. If this gets back out, that's information. I may get stopped out, but that's information. And again, I can trade potentially bigger on the long side. We'll see. All right, what happened here? So this is another stop run. Oh no, this is the one that I trailed my stop to. So this stop's working based off of this event. Actually, I think this did this get an ATR below here. I could put another short on as well. What could go wrong here? Having shorts in 2 markets, multiple shorts in 2 markets. Make sure this is right. This is up to 25.15. And to validate that as a short, it needed to touch 450. It got there. So this is a short setup. Let's make sure algo guy off of this new event. I'm saying I'm already short the Izzy trade from earlier. Algo guy is bearish, just pulled across. So I can put that on. Barks and licks. If it comes back, let's see if there's a liquidity on there. Yes, there is. So I'm going to put a bark and a lick short on in NASDAQ. So I'm going to have bark, lick, and Izzy potentially. That price, those prices, I'm going to get in at 96.75, and I can put on 4. Let me put that on. That's 96.75, and the lick 96.75. All right, those are all working. Let's take a look at our internals too, see what's going on here. So the tick is staying below the 0 line. That's bearish as of right now. You can see it's just hovering below the 0 line. Both the NASDAQ and this is the NASDAQ tick. This is just all the stocks in the full NASDAQ. I can't think of the word. Composite are ticking up ticking or down ticking. So anyway, they can't get it can't get above 0. So the number of stocks that are uptaking versus downstaking is staying below zero. So that's interesting. So this is just, again, another piece of the puzzle. We talked about the scale, right? So if you're looking, we talked about coming up with thesis. Well, if you're looking for reasons with your scale and you're like, okay, this thing won't switch colors for some reason, got your scale, and then you say, okay, we talked about these earlier, and we had like one bearish thing, and now you can say, well, now you got the tick won't get above zero, so that's bearish, right? And then say you get a couple other things. Now the scale is weighing. You can trade to the bearish side. You can trade bigger to the bearish side. This is trading, guys. It's not like black and white. You got to make decisions, right? And if you get enough things leaning in one direction, you can trade bigger, or if you're just looking for one side of the market to trade that day, you can do it that way too. All right, now we wait. But I can tell you, NASDAQ is the number one market, NASDAQ and crude, to go to the liquidity. And you can see it all down there. Let's see if there's any above too. Sometimes they're both ways. Black hole above, liquidity below. Does that mean it's going there right this second? No, but I'd be willing to bet around the Gulf. Someone wants to bet. This is my usual standing bet around the Scottsdale Gulf that we get. I say we get to this liquidity. This is 100 points away before we get back, and it stops me out of this trade. So I'm giving you 50. It's only going to go 50 points to the upside versus 100 points to the downside. Who wants to take that bet? I'll take the bet right now. All right, I need to take a break and see what you guys are saying in the room. Feel all scummy listening to this. All right, Sean, good seeing you. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. Static, less than force gas, and $82.
Russell Ice Iceberg Sell RT, 153 contracts.
I'm using the Bookmap bubble to give a clue when weakness shows up. Guys, the bubbles are just buying and selling. Yeah, they're important in certain times, but other than that, you're just looking at market orders. That's all you're looking at. They're all over the place. It's not something that you can trade off of, per se. In certain areas, at certain times, yeah, you can use them to judge. But I've noticed this bubble change their size as the market moves. That's just showing you the delta. So you can change how you set these up. So mine's set for delta, just showing the buying and the selling right there. I have mine set at delta, buy versus sell. So if it's the bigger red right now, that means there's more selling, meaning hitting of bids than taking of offers. That's all it's telling you. But this is not tradable as far as putting on trades, as far as I'm concerned. Certain area, like I said, if you come to a certain area, say you're looking at a support area and it comes down and you see nothing but blue bubbles, absolutely, that's information. But in the middle, right here, you're trying to trade off bubbles. Good luck. It's not going to happen. But I've noticed this bubble change, and Mark goes, I don't want to call repaint. Those bubbles change size and volatility gets higher. That the bubbles have nothing to do with volatility, per se. All right, so yeah. You're on the wrong track there trading for a living. You want to get the SI indicator, learn how to trade this thing, and then you're onto something. The bubbles are not. You're going to get your head ripped off. Trust me. Who is Algo Guy? Algo Guy is an exponential moving average. I post this every time too. You guys can watch this video. It's actually a really good video. You can come up with multiple trading strategies of it. So this is my trade room, by the way. Say hi. These are all the people in my room, posting charts and everything else. Actually, not a lot of charts posted today, which is upsetting. But anyway, let's see here. I think it's in here.
Russell Ice Iceberg Sell RT, 157 contracts.
Can't remember where I put it. I think it's in here. Here it is right here. So watch this video and it'll explain everything and give you a bunch of different strategies you can play. We're only using a couple right now. There's so many other ones you can use. I will put that in here. So I just named it Algo Guy, right? Because it's basically nothing but algos. And the way it trades and bounces off these ribbons, and when the ribbon crosses, again, watch the video. There's so many different ways you can use it. But I use it to help filter out certain trades. All right, so we're just going to do nothing. I think I just heard Russell. So another thing, too, is you notice, like, stuff's being read off, and I'm hearing it, but I'm not hearing it. So you want to get your alerts page going. text alerts, hit File, Alerts, and then not only will you hear it, it will give you text. So obviously there's some stuff going on Russell, so we'll go take there. Russell usually leads, which is, I know, weird because it's so thinly traded as far as the contract sizes, but you'd be surprised. You can come up with some major thesis based on what Russell's doing. And Russell's not doing really well today. This is really interesting. What does this look like? Yeah. How's that look? Goodness gracious. Compared to the NASDAQ, and so that's telling you something, right? Again, like I said, Russell usually leads, even though it's not really leading anything right now. It's been getting killed, and these other markets are just sitting here. We got the crude number coming out too. Today it was on a Thursday because Monday was a holiday, even though crude wasn't closed on Monday. I don't understand that. But anyway, it comes out in a minute. So I'm sure we'll hear some stuff firing off there too. So this is big size here in Russell, right? Threshold's 150. When I say threshold, that means the amount of size worthy of trading. If I see 150 or more, I'll trade those areas. This is almost four times that. And then you got this too. So you got over 600 sell ice here. You can see it already drew for me with the handy dandy drawing tool. Again, you get that for free right now in my trade room. We're doing a beta test on it. Come on in and you can get it. Check it out. It's awesome. So you can see this. Someone tried to buy here. Blue bubble, blue bubble. We're talking about bubbles. Well, this is where you can pay attention to them just to help you draw your zones. It triggered this buy ice. Sell ice, right? So it triggered there, triggered there, triggered there. And then it flatlined. So these prices are not part of that. See how it's just staying at 4? It's coming in a little bit, but not. We're talking 4 contracts. So that I would use as basically one price. And then we want to probably combine this other one, obviously, and see if that might have been at the same price too. So just pick where this starts to, see how this starts to rip down. You can see it on the on chart there. Coming in, triggered more. See, the market moved away and came back and triggered more. So this is not part of the sell ice. It's once it comes back to this price, and you can see it plain as day on chart as well. Triggered again there. This may have gone a little higher. No, this is all one price. 758.6, 600 sell ice. That's how I would draw that. So I have it like that, but it's really one price. I'm going to put in one price. This is hard for me to see, by the way, with my color blindness. 758.6, 1758.6. ATR in here is 2.91. All right. So actually, I think this is a potential Izzy long into the zone. Let's see. Yeah, we're right. See how this value is in this zone. So I could take a long off of this if it moves higher. I'd have dueling positions on. Obviously, I'm short in ES and NQ, but it is what it is. I don't know. I'm not. The market doesn't care what I want to happen, right? If this turns into a bullish setup, I'm gonna take an Izzy long here. I can go long at 1761.9, and I could put on 15. So that's up here. So all that is basically an ATR out of that zone. ATR plus 15%. It's quite a ways away until it gets there. This may be a bearish setup. Then I can trade accordingly there too, because the algo guy is definitely bearish here as well. So if this moves lower, I can take barks and licks to downside. You can see when this thing crossed, that's when these algos just jump on board, and you can see that led to the help. I'm not saying it was all these algos that led to that move, but they jump on when this thing crosses. We talked about this all. This is one of the disqualifiers for my reversion trade, our reversion trade we're doing in the room. So anyway, if this comes up to this price, I will go long the Izzy trade in Russell. Other than that, I'm short NASDAQ and ES. Get this set up. But guys, you see how structured this is, right? It's not these random areas, random prices, just putting on trades with the feeling. I have distinct rules. Trading is all about trading obviously probabilities, but it's trading like chart patterns and things like that, right? Well, I know the patterns of how these markets react to these volume events from watching 4.2 million of them, right? So I wait for certain things to happen before I jump in my trades. And it's incredible. Just come see for yourself. And if you don't believe it, get Bookmap, replay the day, get the data feeds. You can also get 3.5 years of data feeds in my room that you can go back and watch any day, draw the zones yourself, mock trade them, and then see what you come up with. I'm telling you, like I've been telling you, out of my 24 years of trading, this is the most powerful thing I have ever seen in futures trading. Ever. Times bar none. Not even close. This is the information, right? Like we saw in the old natural gas. Whatever happened in that, by the way? The lucky guess and someone bought 2,000 and it ripped up 100 ticks from there. Yeah. So this is kind of just bouncing around. And they're buying more now down here. So this area is still never violated. So great trade, guys. Really got lucky there. All right, so in the meantime, I could trade a short here. So there's a chance I have 3 different markets short, and then we have to put, we had to play, in my room, we play Highway to Hell or Free Falling. I literally will play that song on this webinar if that happens. Let's see here. So now we go to this side. So what's a validation to make that last setup bearish? I need to trade, I just talked about the last 2 digits, 57. So if this gets down to 57, this is a bearish setup. I'm not going to minimum put on because we know algo guys in that direction. It's down to 57. ATR, whoops, retest failure. I'll put on bark, and I could potentially put on a lick too. Let's see. I don't see any major liquidity, so I can put on the bark. So we'll wait and see what happens there. Getting tortured in both NASDAQ and ES, doing nothing. Getting algoed. So my stop's in up here above these volume events, and I'm just waiting. There is a way this can turn out to be a bullish setup, but algo guy's not bullish, so I would not take any bullish setups off that particular one. If this pulls back across, get the blue above the red, then the bark trades I can take to the upside, but that is yet to be seen. Instead, we just get tortured. All right, let's see what you guys got to say. Throw your questions in YouTube, please. How do you get in? Guys, it's all, I'll post it again. This is all in this document. Anything you want, my course, the spreadsheet, the zones, you get part of that's all free on my trade room, but if you want it independently and you can't get in the trade room there. Actually, I should have a trade room. Yeah, it's right here. Click on that link there. I'll post it. I posted it earlier. I'll post it again because there's some new people in here. It's all there. And then one second here. And then this is the course here. Oops. This is what it looks like. It's all new and updated, and I could put in new stuff. So I'm going to be adding a setup here shortly. It's called Hot Knife Through Butter, but you can see here. So this is everything. It shows you how to do add the SI indicator, do all this stuff, the settings, the product thresholds, adjusting thresholds on certain days, the sub-chart setting, the on-chart setting, the sweeps indicator, how to draw zones. So it goes out in the basic ways to do it, and then it gets back, and I'm going to be adding more of these too, where you just get bonus videos. And, the great thing about this medium, I can keep adding new stuff, and I will. It's like continuing education, right? And here are the setups that I take. You got 6 distinct setups. I'm adding another one. So these are all based on my personal experience trading millions of contracts and how I used to react, so on and so forth. These are the core of my trading. So I use these setups at important areas. The important areas are my trading strategies, right? So a stop run, a dumb and dumber at a lug, major lug, a slug. These are the names of these strategies. Slug, lick. It's when I take a bark ATR retest failure trade towards the liquidity. In Izzy, we've seen the Izzy trades today when we move into an important area. So the whole point is You may love my important areas. You may not love my important areas. It doesn't matter to me what's important to you. If you don't like trading easy trades and you have 200-day moving averages you love to trade off of, or Bollinger Bands, or whatever the 85 things you have in your chart, fine. You use whatever you think is important. But they don't mean anything unless you're getting a volume event there, in my opinion. It doesn't mean the areas can't react, but you have a much higher probability of the trade working if you get a real-time volume event in that area, and that's the whole point. You apply you apply these at your important areas. And I have distinct important areas, and I have distinct areas that I get out of my trades. And that's all in here. This is part of the trade room too. This is directly out of Trading in the Zone. Mark Douglas. Get it? It's incredible. Change your trading life. And then I pay myself as I put on position trades. We haven't even gotten into the reversion trades yet today, but my position trades, like the Bark, the Lick, the Izzy, I pay myself as the market moves into these different areas, right? And I don't get out of all of them most times. I'll get out of some, major levels I'll get out of all most times, but market profile, composite highs and lows, points and controls, VWAP, extreme standard deviation, spot gamma levels, struggle to get through heavy resistance. These are all areas that I will eyeball as the trade's moving in my favor, and I will piece out of some. That's why, those of you that are just trading one big E-mini S&P, all or nothing, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you're better off trading 10 micros where you can get out of 3 at an important area and another 3 and then let 3 ride. That thing. If you're taking just one big E-mini S&P, it's all or nothing and you're done. I don't agree with that at all. So again, you can take my 24 years of experience and put it to work for you, or you can ignore me and go through the next 25 years yourself and figure it out the hard way. That's why I do these webinars, to show you guys everything that I've experienced, so you can fast track what you're doing. So you don't have to go 25 years until you start making money. Alright, so what else you guys are asking in here? That is this just whipsawing back and forth, as you can see. Is it possible to do a few private classes? Yeah, so once again, go to my website, right here, mentoring. So you can get one-on-one with me. $349 an hour. If you book multiple sessions in advance, so I do three to 4 in advance, I knock $50 off per hour, so it's $299. If you do 5 or more, this is all in advance. You got to pay for it in advance. That's the whole idea of the discount, because I don't like people, waffling and then they buy them and they don't show up, so on and so forth. So if you buy them, if you get multiple in advance, then I give you a discount. So if you buy 5 or more, I knock off 100 per session, then it's only $249. So that's what I charge. And I've been told many times to increase it, but I'm not trying to gouge you guys. I want you to teach, but it is I want to teach you what I know, but it is my time, right? And I have a lot going on, so that's what I charge. Why I charge what I do. And in trading terms, relatively, that's nothing. It's a couple points on one lot. You know what I mean? So, and I get all these emails about the Bookmap stuff, and so you're saying I got to get Bookmap, and I got to get the rhythmic data feed, and then I got to get the SI indicator. That's really expensive. Well, yeah, but trading, it's like a couple points on a one lot that it pays for your trading for the month. Like, you can't go without this stuff, in my opinion. So there's some things that you trust me, guys. I went from millionaire to zero when I got back in the game. I was trying to cut costs as much as I could. That's why I use Thinkorswim right now. It's about to get booted. I'm going to be using NinjaTrader here shortly, but cut costs where you can. Absolutely. There's no reason to be paying for a charting service when you can get something like a Thinkorswim for free. You deposit a little money, you get the charts and things like that. But there's things you cannot cut corners on, and the SI indicator, Bookmap, and the SI indicator is one of them. If you're not willing to pay the money, then you're not willing to have all the information. That's all there is to it. Do whatever you want. You want to stare at lines all day and think that's the edge? Fine. I'm telling you it's not. But if you can listen to me or don't listen to me. But I'm telling you, there's things you just need to pony up for, pay for, to get the information, and this is one of them, right? And it's all relative. If you want to trade, it cracks me up that people contact me saying they can't afford Bookmap, they can't afford the SN. If you can't afford Bookmap, the SN indicator, you certainly can't afford to be trading, right? Yeah, you can do the Apex stuff, and I highly recommend this, right? But at some point, you're going to have to pony up. Apex, I talk about this every week. This is the one that I back. I know they're coming out of the woodwork. This is the one I've been using for almost 2 years now. They do everything they say they're going to do. They pay you. Again, use the Pulcini 50 for any discount there. I'm doing the 150 accounts on all these strategies to get all these, so we can follow them correctly. I used to trade completely live with my own personal money, and you can ask my room, and you guys have seen on here how many damn mistakes I've made because I forget stuff because I'm on different markets showing you guys. I got sick of throwing away thousands of dollars because I can't keep track of stuff. So I'm eventually going to hire someone. So as these go live, so each one of these is designated an Apex account, right? As they go live, I'm going to eventually hire someone like in India to do it, cheap labor to monitor the stuff, so I stop throwing away cash. But that and the other reason too is I want each one of those Apex accounts to be to keep track of the strategy percentage and so on and so forth. It hasn't been effective yet because I make some mistakes and I put them on the wrong accounts. But once everything goes live and I hire someone, that stuff will be humming. But highly recommend, if you're learning, if you don't have a big bankroll, if you have to be trading with your rent, it's not going to happen. Please trust me on that. If you have to make money trading, you are not going to make money trading. It's not going to happen. Just like gambling, if you have to win a game, you will never win that game. I shouldn't say never, but anybody who gambles knows what I'm talking about. It's the same with trading. If you are trading and you have to make your mortgage, if you put on, it's all contingent on whether you put on a winning trade or not, you say goodnight. It's not going to happen, right? Your brain does not function properly when you have to trade that way. When you are free flowing and having Apex, once again, we were talking about having like my room's like its own trading firm with people collaborating. Same with Apex. It's like having your own personal funding trading firm funding you. It's like a prop shop funding you, right? You qualify, and they're all on here. All the, I do the 150, but you can do whatever one you want here, right? So for this, you got to make $9,000 before you lose 5. And one thing I don't like about this is they all do this, all these funding companies, $150,000. Well, when I see $150,000, I think I can lose $150,000. No, you can lose $5,000. So it's really a $5,000 trading account, but that's still fine. Trade, and you can tie them together too. So you can qualify for 10 of them, and then you can link them together through, I think it's through NinjaTrader. You can have 10 of them. So instead of 5,000 now, and they all fire off the same trade, now it's a $50,000 account. That's real money, right? So anyway, if you're learning, if you're working on something, if you're new, don't trade your own money. Just do one of these. You got to put, you put the code on. So right now it's 71% off of $297, right? So whatever, it's 200, close to $200 off, whatever it is. Do these. It's a very small outlay of cash to get your feet wet and understand what you're doing. That's my recommendation. Most of you guys won't listen to me and figure it out the hard way, but once again, you do what you want. All I can do is give you my opinion on things. I would think I have a little bit of experience that you would listen to me, but if you want to learn the hard way, learn the hard way. Deborah Corbo. It's got to feel lost on days like this, since it seems mostly algo trades and never confident in trade. Well, absolutely. I don't feel confident right now either. We've been talking about this. This is in the middle of Chopville, right? I wouldn't feel confident either. And when you're sensing this, so if you're following my system, you have not taken a loss yet, right? There has not been a loss in these equities based on these volume events, right? But I could get stopped out of this, and you could say you take 2 trades in this crap in this whipsaw area, and you're like, I'm done. I'm not trading till this market breaks out of this area, and then I'm going to trade. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Be selective. Be a sniper. Sit in the weeds waiting to blow someone's head off, right? Don't sit there and get chopped to death. What did we talk about earlier? These algos are designed to take your money. Well, they're doing a very good job of it today if you guys are flipping back and forth there in this area. I have distinct area that I'm stopping out of this trade, right? I got short that, or was it that? I can't remember now. Yeah, it was that. And I trailed my stop to that, or to this, I'm sorry. So if this rips through here, stops me out, guys, that's trading. You're not going to win every trade. It's called probabilities. On to the next trade. But yes, if you're feeling confused, it's because this is whipsaw city today. What's funny is I have not filled on that Russell long. Remember I was going to trade the Izzy long? Russell is just doing, like, it won't rally, which is interesting. So this could just be another juke move and then right back down. Who knows? But you guys, you can see right here. Look at this. This is basically one house, 1 or 2 houses screwing with your money. You see this liquidity? This is not liquidity I trade off of. All these are orders in the order book, just showing you in a different format. What do you think is happening here? They are taking your money. That's why I force the market to get out of the volume event. Granted, there's still liquidity up here, or there's algo stuff, but I'm not going to let them take my money in random areas. They know nothing's going on right here. Let me turn this market pulse off. We haven't talked about that yet today either, but right? They could see the stuff just like we see the stuff, right? They know when the big money's playing. They know when nothing's going on. When nothing's going on, that's when they start their games. Don't get algoed. So either don't trade at this time period, and this is another time, by the way, this time period, for my entire life, for every product I've traded, every single product is a losing proposition between 10 and 12 p.m. Central. This is when, back in the day, I was going head to head. I don't know, I might be able to still pull up the video. I showed some last week. It's got some swear words and stuff in it, but there was one huge trader. So I was a huge trader. This guy dwarfed me. He could trade, like, I could put on 3,000 even in the S&P contracts. He could put on 6,000. And I knew exactly how many he could put on because I would watch him trade against me all day long, right? But the point is, we're right at this time of day, is right around when New York, the big money in New York, starts to go into lunch. And then they know it's a free-for-all. Then they can start playing games, and they know by looking at this, and they know this time period. So even going back to 2003, it was the same thing. I said this last week, I think. I used to physically have to remove myself from the office. I would leave for 2 hours so I wouldn't be forced to trade in this kind of environment. So not only do you have, as far as structure, we're smack dab in the middle of the balance area. Now you're at this time of day. This is just no go. There's nothing wrong with being like, okay, I'm out. I'm not trading in this. Nothing wrong with it. So if you guys didn't see my video, let me know. I'll try to show it today. I don't know if I still have that subscription. I downloaded it to my computer, but I was the next Pro Trader webinar. I was going to show it more as like a collage type of thing because it's not filtered and there's a lot of swear words. The one video I lost like 25 grand in 3 seconds, and it was not pretty, but that happened quite often. Let's see. Took a screenshot. Retail is accessed. It's not even an argument yet. NQ on the move. Yeah, on the move against me. Telegram also on that platform. Listen to Scott. Listen to Scott losing money. Just keep adding to my short position on the Qs and SPY. Hope it keeps going up, and we'll keep adding. What, David? Why are you adding to your trade? Do you have a reason, or are you just because you have a feeling? And who was the dude that said it's scummy? I'm gonna make sure that guy never comes into my webinar again. What was his name? What's scummy? I'm explaining to you guys what's going on. Sean Maestro. So please point out if that clown comes back into the room, by the way, at any point. It's ridiculous. What's scummy? I'm showing you guys what's going on in the market. How is that scummy? That makes no sense. I know I can't fight everyone out there, guys. I do have a problem with that. You saw me that one last week or the week before, the same stuff. I have a weakness to that. But like, what is scummy? What am I saying that's scummy? What else? Maybe the idea of trading. Yeah, maybe that could be it. All right, so I still have these trades on. I have not stopped out of either one of them. Nasdaq is at 65.50. It's not looking great. And you guys should have made the golf bet because if it's such a 65.50 before it gets to this liquidity. So that's the thing, guys, with this liquidity, right? Like, is there a very, very good chance? It looks like it lightened up anyway. Yeah, see how it lightened up. Let's see. Or did it? No, that wasn't it, was it? No, it's about the same. I still think this market will hit this liquidity probably today. Maybe it might be tomorrow. So it doesn't mean the market's going straight to liquidity. Again, you're just coming up with thesis, ideas. Like, hey, there's huge liquidity down here. There's nothing above. Okay, I'll trade bigger if I get a short setup. It doesn't mean you just throw on a short thinking it's going to go straight to this liquidity. Do you know what I mean? But my bet was it went to that liquidity before 65.50, and that's not looking real promising. And I have no idea what's going to happen. That's why nobody does. Anybody that tells you they know what's going to happen is full of you-know-what, right? I let the volume events tell me. So I'm not going to trail my stop to this volume event because it would be higher. I rarely move my stops worse, right? So I could say, well, here's a new event. I'm going to move that stop away a little further. It's in. I trail it off of this event here. It's in. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out. And it's real close. So this is trading, man. You put on your trades. You know, this is the great thing about my room, and I love showing this from my room. So this is the moderator of my room, but he said something that couldn't have been more true as far as I'm concerned. not too long ago. Oops. Pin messages. So somebody was questioning about studying your losers, right? So I learned from that S&B trading when I got back in the business in 2017. I was going to trade stocks. So anyway, they talk about not letting their traders study their losers. They just want them studying their winners.
S&P stocks stock by ES.
All right, I just stopped out.
Contracts.
What did I step out of?
Stock by NQ, 184 contracts.
All right, so I stopped out of both ES and NQ. So anyway, so this gets to this, right? So about studying your losers versus your winners. And you're better off just studying your winners. And someone was saying, well, I think you should study your losers too. And he said, I would normally agree with trades that haven't been vetted or are still testing. This is the key. The strategies in this room are tried and tested, so the losses are just part of the random distribution, right? So I just took a couple losses there. That's part of the random distribution. I know if I put on 100 of those trades, I have. Oh, did I just fall out to the stop out to the tick too? Of course I did. I know this is an edge because I've been trading these for so long, and you can ask anyone in the room that's profitable right now. This is the edge. This is the ultimate edge. It doesn't mean every trade's a winner. So that's why you have your parameters in this spreadsheet. You put your trade on, you stop out, right? So I stopped out, right? Actually, why does this say 68? Did I not? I didn't put that in right, did I? I was supposed to stop out at 68. Hopefully it traded. No, of course it didn't. So I shouldn't have stopped out of that NASDAQ trade. I made a mistake there. That's not good. That's going to be very upsetting if this turns around and goes south on me. Anyway, so that was, once again, like I was telling you about trading live accounts, stuff like that, that was a mistake. My stop should have been at 60. I don't know why I had it at 66 quarter. Anyway, the point is, most traders struggle with finding, they think they have an edge. They think they see something that works. They go back, they back test it for a month, 2 months, and like, yeah, this is incredible. This is the best thing I've ever seen. And then it stops working. And then they jump to the next edge, and the next one, and the next one. And then they blow out, and they're back to their regular day job, right? The point is, my room has been around for almost 3 years. I've been doing this for almost 7 years. I know this is the best edge that's available. Just, that's my opinion, but I've watched a lot of market action. That's what I think, right? So you don't have to question the edge, is the point. Like, that is half the battle. Knowing, oh, is this an edge? Is this not an edge? I don't know. Do I have to back test it for 4 years? This is an edge. So you have that in place. Then you just need to learn the right way to trade them. And then trade them, and not do stupid crap mentally. Other than that, you're halfway there with the edge. And I just stopped. This was a mistake. Stopped out of that one. I should still be short that. But I did stop out of ES. I remember I moved my stop above this volume event. And that's just the probabilities, guys. This is a chop fest right now. I stopped out. This one's pretty much to the tick as well. Big deal. Stop out. Control your risk. You shouldn't be losing more than 2% on a trade if you're trading real money accounts. I'm more aggressive with the Apex accounts, but if you're trading real money, shouldn't be risking more than 2%, and you should not be risking more than 6% of your account size in a day. If you hit 6%, you turn it off. Tomorrow is another day. If you don't want to listen to that, then you are in deep, deep, deep trouble overall, because you're going to have a day where they call it going on tilt, and you're going to lose your mind, and you're going to wake up the next morning and you're like, oh my God, how did I lose 80% of my account yesterday? I've done it multiple times. You guys all know the story. I've told it. $800,000 losing days, 2 days in a row, back to back. I mean, not in a row, but a month apart. Where both times I woke up, and obviously I didn't learn the first time. Woke up the next morning, I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, why would I do that? Like, why? There's no reason. There's another day. There's another trade, right? So control your risk. If you have a day like today where it's just complete chopville, if you hit your 6%, it's not the end of the world. You can make 12% tomorrow. And you catch a trending day and you start adding like we've been talking about. But until you can internalize that, and I literally make a joke to my room that you should, and what's not a joke is you should be reading this every single day. Every day you should be reading this document, right? You're trading like a casino. Does a casino win every hand they put on? No. Do they shut down the casino when they have losing hands? No. So you don't quit. If you have an edge, you know you have an edge. That generally puts the odds of success in your favor. That's the edge. And you can think about trading in the appropriate manner, the 5 fundamental truths. And you can do everything over a series of trades. That's why I don't give up after I have a loser or 2 losers or 3. I know over a series of trades, like a casino, I can own the game and be a consistent winner. And these are the truths. Until you can internalize this and really believe it, you're never going to make it. You're going to continue to do stupid crap. Anything can happen. That's why you put stops in, because I don't care how good the trade looks, you could get stopped out, especially with the news stories constantly hitting the market. You don't need to know what's going to happen next in order to make money. You just keep putting on the trade. You don't know what's going to happen next. Nobody does. You find the volume event, you have your rules, you put the trade up. There's a random distribution between wins and losses. I just had a distribution of a loss. Big deal. On to the next trade. And I shouldn't have taken the loss in NQ. Like I said, that was a mistake. Right? That's the other part of it. You got to eliminate your mistakes. And this, by the way, the market's 40 points lower from where I got stepped out, 30 points lower. And that's just nothing more than an indication of a higher probability of one thing happening. Higher probability, not guaranteed. It's not, this has to be a winner, right? Every moment in the market is unique. So until you can internalize this document, you are going to be struggling very likely. All right, run out of gas. We're almost at the time. I'm upset that I screwed up this NASDAQ trade. I should not be stopped out of this one. I still haven't filled in this Russell Izzy long either. So, and like I said, we're at a terrible time of day. You may just say, I'm not gonna. Actually, what I can do, I could probably reshort this. I didn't even see this. Hold on a second before we leave here. This was back in that Izzy zone again. Guys, you see how this market's like struggling to break, because you got to remember there are days full of traders, longer term traders here, that anytime this market comes back, they're like, get me the hell out. Get me the hell out. Right? So it doesn't mean it can't eventually do that, but right now it's obviously struggling. I'm mad. I'm not, and we got this time of day. I'm not going to put this trade on, but if I wanted to reshort this, I would do the same thing here. Let's plug this zone in. This was the SPY stop run. I got a little guy pulled too. Let's see if it pulled back before I even. Yeah, pulled, and now it looks like it's gonna pull back. So it's just chop, especially when you see this thing going back and forth like this. That's telling you it's chop fest too. Anyway, this event was the stop run here. It couldn't have been these prices, because you see the sweep started here, but it couldn't have been these prices. That have been there. Sweeps get the first right to the order book, so I'd say 15.4, 58.50 is the bottom. And then that's the top. 15.467. I know this market's going to break now, because every time I make a mistake, it's just like magnified, and I get it shoved down my throat. And it's my own fault. It doesn't feel good. There you go. All right, so now if I wanted to short this Izzy, I'd be long it, or short it, because this would be an aggressive short as well. If you wanted to do Izzy short. So I would have been in at 30 and I already missed that entry too. So this is just telling me it's time to take a break, right? Like I'm getting stopped out because of mistakes and shouldn't have been stopped out. I missed the entry, so on and so forth. So that sucks, but that's trading. It's just it's just a choppy, ugly market right now. Let me just make sure I did full. Yeah. I did that. Oh well. All right, but if you wanted to trade this, you can either wait for a retest failure, or if this does pop back, if you wanted to say, I'm going to take this one aggressively, then, I could have bid in multiple times here. It's probably going to do this now, because that's how it works for me certain days. See how I'm starting to do the self-talk? Nowadays, I can catch it. When I start talking to myself and I start being negative, that's when I go down the rabbit hole mentally. But you can do the same thing here with this event. Put that event in, and I can reshort these if I want to. Again, I'm starting to, I know myself, and I'm getting that feeling, so I'm just going to pass on these. But I'm getting off this webinar anyway. I'm going to take a break. But you could short this one the same way. This is back. This touched that Izzy zone again. Right there. Right? So this is just chopping around, guys. The best idea to me, like that was that stop run in there again, is to wait till we break out of this. Or trade the edges. I mean, this is the edge. But other than that, I would wait, because the move out of here is most likely going to be the big one, especially with this 26,000 bias that came in at the close yesterday. So I would wait for a move out or move out. Other than that, it may do this all day, and you don't want to be blowing out accounts and chop fest. All right, any other questions? I'm going to run. I've done the same. Appreciate your honesty. Thank you, Scott. You're welcome. All right, guys. It's good. It's good to see both sides of the coin, right? You've seen me have many winning days, winning trades on these webinars, and then a day like today, it's like you saw me make a mistake, which I've been making a ton. And the other thing too, yesterday I made 3 different trades into one of them. I had 2 shorts on into the FOMC minutes, which was just not smart. It's just I know better than that. Stopped out of 2 ES shorts. Then I took 2 trades yesterday, bonds and Nasdaq, into the Fed clowns talking. Took losses on those. So once again, you can incorporate. It's more of a do as I say, not as I do, because if I need to be doing that myself. But just don't trade. There's plenty of trades. If the guys are talking, if there's numbers coming out, just sit back, let the stuff materialize, then trade. Right. All right. So this is going to be painful. I guarantee this market drops to this liquidity now. Where's that? Yep. See you down there. So I missed that trade too. But you could put on trades again. This time of day sucks, but you could, as this market moves lower, even if you miss this one, there's another one right around the corner. All right, I do this every day in my trade room. Not just put on losers every day in my trade room, but I do this every day in my trade room. You guys have the course. It's in the spreadsheet. All that's, that shit I posted. So I will see you guys next week. Thank you.